What's going on, everybody? Hey, good evening, good afternoon, or wherever you are. How y'all guys doing? Welcome to TrailBlazerz Radio, man. This is Frederick. I'm your host, Frederick Media. Welcome to another episode of the Office Alley. Thank you guys for tuning in with us and watching and tuning in with us, vibing out with us, rocking out with us, man. Thank you guys so very much for that. Um, Man, just thank you guys so very much, man. Continue to like and follow us on all our social media platforms, man. LinkedIn, YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're also on LinkedIn. Um, man, just thank you guys for following us, and also just continue to tap into our webpage. It's www.trailblazerradio.net. And again, just thank you guys so very much for tuning in and rocking out with us, man. Most definitely, gotta give thanks to God for this for allowing me to wake up this morning because without Him, none of this is actually possible, guys. So most definitely gotta give all the honor and the thanks to Him for doing for that. Um, so without any further ado, man, let's get this show on the road, shall we? So the young lady that I have right here, that's arrayed to my left or to your right, however you are viewing her tonight. Um, First of all, she needs no introduction, but I'm gonna give the best introduction I know I possibly can for her. Um, I met this young lady during a conference, unapologetically free, one that a good friend of mine, Shayna Gerdine, and also Miss Pamela Edwards have, and I've been someone who's been a supporter of them for quite some time, and she was a speaker there, and I was most definitely enamored by the word she gave um, that evening, and even more enamored to know that she's a visionary of an anthology, which we will talk about um, here in just a little bit. But first and foremost, I'm very honored to know this person, and also to be a part of this anthology. So I want to say those two things. I'm honored to know her, and just to be a part of this anthology is a great honor. So without any further ado, guys, I want to introduce to you Miss Sandra Rumph Jackson. Hey, Sandra, how are you?
I am doing quite well today. Thank you so much for asking. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. I cannot complain. I cannot complain. I cannot complain. All despite how I feel, despite everything that's going on around me, all is truly well. All is truly well. So I am appreciative of the gift of life that I've been given, and the opportunity to be here with me on this platform with you, talking about something, having a great conversation. So I appreciate that. So I appreciate you coming on and you honor me with your presence.
Well, um, to God be the glory. I am honored to be here as well. And yes, we did meet on that amazing platform. And you said you were enamored with me, but I have been telling everyone about you. So, what's in a
You
name?
know,
You can't forget that. What's in a name and what is your name about, and are you fulfilling the purpose of your name? I just told two people about that today, and actually, one of the pastors looked up my name, began to tell me what my name represented, and biblically at that. And so, yeah, thank you for sharing that because it has stuck with me, and now I'm able to share your message with other people.
oh, thank you so very much for that. Now, just so you know, I'm actually going to expound on that in a future podcast. Actually, going to expound on that some more. More than just just the bits. It's kind of like the more than just the crumbs that I kind of left out there for everybody. And now I'm actually going to try to give everybody the whole story this time.
I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, thank you so very much. I appreciate that. You again. I'm honored to be in this space with you and to share the space with you. So let's jump into it, shall we? So, I mean, you're I see that you're a poet. You're a poet. So you're a poet, huh?
Well, I started out writing poetry. My mom purchased a book for me when I was about 5 years old, uh, a poetry book. and it stuck with me. I carried that in my purse. I carried it everywhere I went, and I began writing poetry. A couple pieces that I wrote, which are very profound. The first one I will tell you about is procrastination. I think everybody in the
Wow.
nation needs that poem, and I do sell my products. And then there's another poem entitled "Lord, I Can Still See You." Mm, that one was really
Wow.
profound. And then there's another one actually. It says, "Why do we fight?"
Oh wow.
Mhm.
So was poetry your first introduction into actual writing, or was
It
it was that the vector into writing, or was it something that in addition to that?
Well, it was the beginning for me. And what caused me to actually pick up the pen and write is my mom is the mother of 15 children. So she would walk around the house when something happened and she would always say, "I'm going to write a book one day. I'm going to write a book one day." And I heard her as a child always saying that. However, she missed the opportunity because she deceased. And so my first book was in honor of her. And so I wrote "The Greatest Mother in the World, Just for You, Mom." And she was a phenomenal person, a woman that you should get to know. And the only way now you can get to know her would be purchasing this book. So a few of my siblings wrote in that book, some of the grandchildren. I put her favorite quotes in there. Some of her, she had a way of speaking. She was very eloquent, eloquent, and she dressed phenomenally. She reminds me of how Queen Elizabeth dressed. And every time I saw my mom, she was dressed to the nines. And so people ask me all the time, wow, I love the way you dress. Well, I get it from my mom and my dad because that's what they did. They taught us how to go out of the house looking our best.
Mhm.
And I passed it down to my siblings and to my detriment at times because they take a long time to get ready. And
Got
so, of course, dressing your best because if you look good, you'll do your best. If you
ah,
feel good, you'll do your best. If you smell good, you'll do your best. And so I think there was an art to her teaching, and I appreciate her for doing that.
wow. That's a beautiful homage to your mom. That's such a beautiful homage to your mom. And what you said is true. I mean, if you dress right, if you dress good, you look good, you'll feel good. When you feel good, you'll do good. And when you do good, you know, it's reciprocal. It comes
Yeah.
right back.
And when you do good, the world recognizes you, and then
That's
you're
right.
on a show like tonight.
Yeah, yeah, of course, of course. So you wrote that book, but the one thing I always ask, especially authors who come here, besides just the love of writing, because I know a lot of us who are authors, we love to write, we love to create. We either whether we're creating something that's like a true story, or whether we're creating something fictional, or whether
Mm.
we're just writing poetry. Um, who were there any authors that influenced you, or were there any personal influences, like people in your family that influenced you to write?
That's a cool question. So my influencers were Maya Angelou, Eckhart Tolle, uh, the Bible. you know.
Big hitters right there.
Oh yeah, heavy hitters. I love to read, and so knowledge is power. And so I was influenced by many people, but my mom was the most influence that I can mention tonight.
Wow. And I think, and you know what, I like that because I think because I believe, well, I won't say I think, I believe that our parents are the most influential peoples in our lives. They are the most influential people in our lives, and they're the ones who taught us how to be who we are, or
Yeah,
they laid the groundwork on who we on how to be who we are. It was up to
exactly.
us after we turned 18 to figure it out on our own, but they laid the groundwork,
Yes.
and
Yes.
I most definitely love that. Again, like I said, I love that homage to your mom. I mean, and I think I truly been, and I will say, I know she may be gone for a while, but I will say I do apologize for your loss, and the world and your family is lesser for that.
Yes, I thank you for that. Um, there was a time where I could not comprehend the fact that the woman that birthed me into the world is leaving the world or she's gone. That was a
Mhm.
heavy one for me. But since, God has helped me, and what I do is I channel her wisdom and I tune into um, her wisdoms daily. And I quote my mom often, and I think about all of the stories that she told us and all of the tools, wisdom, knowledge, and just she downloaded so much into all 15 of us until she left us with enough to survive in this world. And I'm grateful for that, because a lot of people don't keep their children. And so I do realize at this stage of the game that my mom didn't have to keep me. She could have put me in front of a fire station just like a lot of other people did, but it was a choice. She chose to keep me and she chose to raise me, and I'm eternally grateful. And if you were on my show last night and I had everybody to put in the comment section, I forgive my parents, because I believe a lot of us are carrying around hurt and pain bodies, and various things from our upbringing. But I
Right.
think our parents need a get out of jail card. Why do you say that? Oh, I want to hold on to the anger. Most people, they want to hold on to the pain, and no, they knew better. They should have done better. Um, but if you look at your life, right, you will realize that you are imperfect. Although a
That's right.
lot of people think they're perfectionists, they're not, all right? Just a wake up call. You can ascribe to be perfect, but you cannot ever reach the mark. The Bible says for us to ascribe to be. If we're ascribing to be something, we're not going to reach that. The only perfect being is our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. We have flaws, we have imperfections, we have things, proclivities um, that interfere with us being perfect. How would I
Man.
like? I would love to be perfect. Mhm. I would love to be perfect. I
Man.
guess, but if I were perfect and everybody else were flawed, how perfect would I really be? We live in an
Perfect.
imperfect world.
That's it.
So
That
we
is it.
can't be perfect. We will take the place of God if we were perfect. And we can't do that. And so,
Nah,
yeah, I appreciate my parents. I tell my parents, I have forgiven my parents because I think parents have done their level best to do their best with the tools they were handed.
that's it. That is so correct. Oh, and that's a what you said the phrase of the night right there, man. I mean, we can pack it up and go home now. We can pack it up and go home now. But I mean, at this point, I mean, I know at this point in my life, I think you know, perfection is something I'm not even striving for at this point.
No,
Right now, I just want to be the best I can in the positions that I am in.
exactly.
I want to try to be I want to be I want to be good to the people who are good to me.
Well, it even goes deeper than that, because if you're only good to the people that are good to you, what is that? That's an even swap, right?
Yeah,
As Christians, the Bible says for us to do good to them that despitefully use us. We have an obligation. Yeah, they lied on me. So I'm going to, what are you going to do? They lied on Jesus, right? And so we can't bail out on people, although many times I want to as well. But the Bible also says, vengeance is mine and I will repay. And so the bigger person in us, we must stand up and rise to the occasion and become the best person that we can possibly be. And
That's
with that, there comes rules, regulations, morals, and principles that we must apply to our daily life in order to become who God wants us to be.
so Victoria said turning the other cheek is a hard one though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is. But sometimes you just have to.
You have to turn the other cheek. I mean, um, even over the summer, I went through something so devastating, I literally wanted to cry, right? Because you don't
Man,
want your name scarred. You don't want the image of your name, misconstrued. But even in that, I had to fall on my knees, go in my prayer closet and pray, humble myself, right? And when God began to show me what they did to him, the very people that he loved, they denied him. The very people he healed wouldn't stick up for him. And I said to myself, if since he went through all of that for me, at least I can do is show a little of the attributes that has been downloaded in the inside of me and be the bigger person. Like
right.
Victoria said, the Bible said if they slap you on the left, what? Turn to the right.
Yeah.
It's difficult in the moment to do, but over the summer, a group of Trinidadians, they called me Jesus Lady.
Oh wow.
I was like, whoa. But what does that mean? That means they saw the Christ that I represent every day working in the inside of me under pressure. When you're under pressure, when you're under the gun, you still must represent Christ well. Mm,
Man,
yes,
man,
that's what we have an
telling you.
obligation. We're obligated, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think one of our viewers said, how do you stay connected to people that continue to hurt you, that's
Ah,
supposed to love you, even after forgiving them over and over again? So
yes.
that's one of the questions.
That's a great question. And all I can tell you is it takes daily fasting and praying and staying in your word. Because many times the flesh wants to rise up. Many times the flesh wants to defend. All right. Many times the flesh be like, no way, this is the last time. Yeah. But then there's a still small voice in my ear saying, but Sandra, you're a Christian, baby.
Yep.
And so, with that constant reminder, I can't act ugly. I can't do what I want to do, right? We are obligated.
That's it. And I'll expound on that a little bit more. Sometimes it's best to take a tactical retreat.
Correct.
You got sometimes you have to think, you have to rethink your strategy when it comes to dealing with people. Um, it's not a bad. You're not looked at as weak if you take a tactical retreat, or if you retreat. You're not look. It shouldn't be looked at as that if you do that. Sometimes
Yes,
you just have to rethink your strategy.
you do. You do
And the
have
one,
to pause,
yep.
you
And the
know.
one
And
and the
I
one
do
thing I
believe,
know.
I'm sorry,
Go
go
ahead. I'm
ahead.
sorry. Nope. Ladies first.
I believe that there are people on assignment from the enemy to try us.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
believe, it is my firm belief that they're going to do and utilize 100% of their energy to try to break you.
They will.
And
They will.
so by pausing, taking a step back, turning in a different direction, praying, the Bible said, resist the devil and he will flee. One of my sisters, the late evangelist Jacqueline Rumph, she said, a lie will die. And so I don't pay attention. It hurts in the moment. It stings, boy, you know, but then wisdom clicks in and I'm like, I'm good, you know, because
Exactly.
a lie will die. And the thing about a lie, it hurts so bad until you want to go and defend yourself. But what we end up doing is making matters worse.
That's it.
We mess it all up, and then we're in a bigger mess. But if you let it go, I mean, let the wind take it and let it go, and the lie will die.
That's it. That's it. And I think the one thing that a lot of we don't, and I'll say this on a couple of panels before, is that we don't give ourselves enough grace.
True.
You know, and we don't give ourselves enough grace to forgive ourselves and also forgive those who hurt us.
Hmm.
And we have to. And people always think that, well, I'm saying this because no, forgiveness is not for the person that transgressed you. It's the place for you. You're the one that's been transgressed. It's not for them. It's for you.
Yes. And then the scripture said, let not your heart be troubled. And so when people do things, especially on purpose, you still have to protect your heart and not let it become trouble, because a troubled heart will, they said, hurt people hurt others. And so with that person with the comment and the question, what do you do when a person repetitively, and constantly try to demean you or talk about you, or uh, you want to utilize wisdom, and sometimes you have to avoid contentious ones. Don't go around them, for your sanity, for your sake. I was talking to my daughter after I picked her up from work. I said, some people, um, they have venomous uh, attributes. And so I wouldn't go in a room that I knew was full of snakes, would I? No, because I wouldn't have any protection, right? And so we as people, we must be wise, and we can avoid contentious ones by going in the opposite direction. Wisdom prolongeth life.
Yep, indeed. I'll say this: avoidance is a good thing when used wisely.
True.
You know, and I'll say that, and I'll say that I stand on it. Sometimes you just have to avoid, people to avoid certain confrontations, to remove yourself from certain confrontations. Sometimes you just have to avoid it.
True. True.
Now, granted, there are some confrontations that you just cannot avoid,
Hmm.
and and I've heard a couple of people have told this all the time. Told me this one time. Um, one of my old pastors said this: you cannot conquer what you cannot go. You cannot conquer what you don't confront.
Ah, that's good, because some of us have personalities that we don't want to confront people.
Yeah,
So confronting people, um, is not something that I like to do. I mean, I'll let you have your lie. I'll let you talk about me. I'll let you do whatever, because I already know. Like, when you already know the truth, you don't have to have that conversation, because how difficult is it to talk to a person that can't comprehend and they can't see? Yeah, they can't see your point. They can't comprehend what you're saying. So how am I don't like wasting my words. I don't like wasting my time. And so if I know who I'm dealing with and I know things won't change, I'm good.
let it be.
Yeah. Uh,
It is what it is at that point. Like,
yeah, that's what I say, you know.
shrug your shoulders and be like, keep it moving.
Yeah.
And sometimes, there's just some instances where you can't, and you be like, and I know, and I've been into those instances. So there's some instances where you can't. You just be like, you know what? Yeah, okay, whatever. I ain't gonna handle this. God, I'm gonna
Uh,
let you handle that because it's that's outside of my wheelhouse and outside of my level of comprehension.
Well, there's a book called The Course in Miracles, and if you haven't read it, you need to. And what it says in there is, I would rather be happy than right. Mm. So that's why I take the stance that I take, because I would rather be happy than trying to prove the fact that I'm right, because most humans are wrong. And most humans can't see that they're wrong. So it's like talking to a brick wall if you're in a confrontation with someone. I don't like the confrontation part. I can have an open discussion, you know.
Right,
But my parents, growing up with all of us, we didn't witness our parents arguing. So when
right.
I got married, I didn't know what an argument was. I couldn't defend myself. I couldn't speak up. And I would be hard on myself. You know, I don't know if anybody in the audience was like this, but you would go away from the situation and you then can think of 15 things that you should have said, you know, in the moment. But it's too late now. Wow.
Yeah, therefore, yeah, it's too
You
late.
missed the opportunity. But what I realized, and that poem that I wrote was because someone was arguing, why do we fight?
Wow.
We know it isn't right. It's a no-win situation. All it is a bunch of aggravation. Why? So yeah, you gotta purchase that poem if you want it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Don't give the good stuff right now. Don't give the good stuff right now. Y'all gotta get that if y'all want to get that though. But and I know we kind of jumped off the topic, but it was a jump, but it was a good thing that we talked about that, because I think a lot of it leads into um, how we what our experiences are, but it also leads into the things that the people that we are, um, the thing that who we are, what we are, you know, even goes back to what I said, but what I said was in December, what do we know what our name means? Do we
Exactly.
truly understand the meaning of our name? Are we living up to the meaning of that or the
Exactly.
purpose of that?
So I try to, and that's why I write. It's always a work in progress to be
Oh,
all that God wants us to be. But this book right here, um, the name of it is Trauma, Grief, Pain, Bodies, and Healing.
we
This is a must read. In this book, I'll challenge you. A lot of people, they need to be challenged.
right.
They need accountability. And I needed it. And so what God did for me was He worked all of my stuff out of me through writing this book. So I
Wow.
know it works. So I was a guinea pig.
You made yourself a guinea pig, right?
Yeah, it was a good thing though. I leave a quote every day, a prayer every day, a challenge, a vocabulary word. Uh, I give spiritual downloads. I help you work through your stuff. If you let me, I can help you. I can shift you from the place you are in life right now to the place where God wants you to be. So let's read this. This is chapter 4, and the title is Emotional. How many emotions do you go through in a day? Huh?
Quite a few.
So if we're honest with ourselves, we would say quite a few. And I also tell you that it will take you 20 minutes to read this chapter. So you'll know going in how long it will take you, which is good because you can read a chapter before work. Uh-huh. So he himself bore our sins in his body on the tree that we might die to sin and live to righteousness. By his wounds ye are healed. And that is found in 1 Peter 2:24. Best-selling author Daniel lists 4 emotional intelligence skills. He intently describes how each essential domain of EI has the probability of being valuable and helping leaders through tumultuous odds. In our studies this week, They are self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management.
Mm. Wow.
Did you need me?
Wow.
Each can support a trailblazer facing any calamity with lower levels of stress, less emotional reactivity, and fewer unintentional penalties. It has been documented that self awareness is solely demonstrated when one is conscious of their feelings and thoughts surrounding each surface. What will you do the next time something similar happens to you? I pray that you will utilize the next emotion, which is self control. So, we were talking about that, right? What will you
Right.
do in that moment? So, in this book, it's going to tell you the steps, what to do when you're confronted with the odds. And self control will be the best choice to make when you're confronted.
There we go. I love that. I love that. So I do want to ask you a little because I know because you publish some things and stuff like that. So when you write
Mhm.
or you're writing down, and I know this is probably going to sound like a really, really funny question, but I do want to, but I want to ask you, I don't want you to be, I don't want you. You may laugh at this, but I've asked a couple of Christian authors this once, and they laughed and then they answered the question. Um, you're writing when you write. Do you get your downloads from God?
I do.
Okay, so
Everything, I think I would venture to say everything that I've written was downloaded by God for me. All right. So I tap in, I plunge, I listen to God. Mm. Some things he tell me, I'm like, no, I argue with him. Like this book right here, right? So I was writing a book, a few things my mom forgot to tell me before she died when I wrote this book, because I went in my prayer closet. I was halfway finished with that book. And I went in my prayer closet and I said, I want to hear from God. I want to know the next spin that he wants on it. And I'll take about a week. Well, that week turned into a month and a week. And when I came out of my closet, he told me this title and that he wanted it written. So I stopped what I was doing. I obeyed God's voice, and he allowed me to be number one bestseller with this book only because of obedience. And so, what I will say is when you obey God, you get God's results.
I will. I will second that emotion.
Mhm.
I will second that emotion. I think it's important that we keep that in mind as we continue to live our lives, whether we're in the beginning stages of it, the middle stages of it, or toward the end of that. I think what we need to just continue to obey and listen to God's word and listen to him truly speaking to us. So that way we can get our daily download of what he wants for us, and what his will in our lives is, what he wants us to do in our lives, and what his will is for our lives.
Totally. We have no direction unless we listen to God. He leads me, he guides me into all truth. And so in the spiritual, so in the natural, in the world, when I leave my home, before I leave my home, I pray, ask God, lead me and guide me, protect me, put your arms of protection around me. Go in front of my vehicle, go in back of my vehicle, and go on either side of my vehicle.
That's it.
Wow. And so when you're covered by the power and the presence of God, you don't have to fear any evil. And so, yeah, that's the way I do.
That's it, man. I love that. I love that. So let's switch gears a little bit because I actually want to talk about this anthology that I'm so proud to be a part of, and I want to talk about um, the inception of it, and also the purpose of it, and also how it can help new parents, parents of adolescents, and I really want to dive into that because that's one of the things that I really me as being a parent, you know, I think we've all had our ups, downs, and our pitfalls when we have raised kids, whether we raised our biological kids or whether we raised stepchildren or bonus children. And I really want to jump into that. So this anthology that you're the spearhead of and that you're the visionary of, what was the idea of that? How did that come about?
All right. So do you really want to know? Do you really want to know?
Yes, I do.
I fell asleep, and with 10 minutes or 30 minutes of me being asleep, the Lord woke me up. I was exhausted. And I heard a voice say, you know how you hear, we don't have a manual to raise children.
Nope.
He said to me, what are you going to do about it? He said, how long are you going to keep saying that? How long will people keep saying that? But we don't have a manual. So he asked me the question, what am I going to do about it? And I was like, I sat up straight in my bed because that's a great idea, you know. I love great ideas. So he began to talk to me. And what he showed me was our African American men standing on the corner selling drugs. He showed me young children cursing at their children. And he just showed me so many things and back to back. And with that question, I felt obligated to do something about it. And he said, if we don't change or do something about right now in this season, about the children that are being raised, what do we expect the next 5 years to be? So with all of these questions, you know, I had to come up with an answer. And I said, all right, God, I'm willing to do this. I just need you to lead me to the right people. He said, just ask. So I went about asking people, are you a parent? Would you like to write and leave skills and techniques and tools and wisdom for the next generation? Because we need to do something. We need to do something. This is an urgent call. And if we don't do something right now in this time, I don't know what the next generation will be. And so I look at the elderly, they're afraid to leave their home at night. When I grew up, we were out playing in the front yard at night. We were looking at the lightning bugs. We were innocent children. My brothers were catching lightning bugs in a jar. All right. Now you won't find children outside at night because the world has shifted. The world is tilted because lack of training. All right. Young children are having children, so they haven't stayed in the home long enough to get those gems and the doctrines and the principles and the teachings. You know, I was reading the scripture the other day and it said for us to teach our children around the table. All right. And so when children become a certain age, they no longer eat around the table. They're going with their friends. And so we now have a generation that have not been trained. And so this amazing anthology that you spoke so eloquently about, the title is Raising Children Wasn't Easy. We know it's not easy. We want the world to know it's not easy, but we're going to provide the next generation with tips, wisdoms, techniques, strategies, and just various poignant information that can help them. He showed me a woman holding a baby, my God. And he said, if we can get the children wisdom before they leave the lap of the parent, that we can shift this generation and our world would be a better place. And how many of us would like to have a better world? So, you know, I said to myself the other day, I said, people should be running to me saying, I'll write. But that's not what I'm getting. I have 13, there would be 15 people in this anthology. There would be teachers and doctors and very amazing people. I can hardly wait to see. We have Lyrical, you know Lyrical.
Yes,
She's
sir.
in
Yeah.
this anthology. Dr. Joe and my friend that I met in Cancun, her name is Julie Melville. She's in here. I met Glenda Moulton and we have Coleman is in this book. We have so many amazing people that's working this project and they're on assignment. And actually, Miss Coleman sent her her first draft to me right before the show, and I can't wait to read it when I sign off of here. Yes, and Julie's on, and she's excited about it as well. Thank you so much, Julie. Um, but yeah, it is a powerful anthology, and I can't wait to offer it to the world. And so, Dr. Deborah Allen, she's going to publish this book for us, and she is the publisher for Les Brown. And good news, I'm going to interview Les Brown in a couple of weeks, and I'm so excited about that.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes, I'm excited.
Congratulations.
Oh, jeez.
I'm excited for you. That's gonna be good. Let me know when it happens so I can tune in.
Yes, you'll get the reminder because I believe you subscribe. So anybody that subscribes to my YouTube channel, and the links will be in the chat, you will get the notifications. And actually, this coming Thursday, I will be interviewing what is her name? She has a show as well, and her name is Deborah Miss Jacobs. So the Kim Jacobs show, I will be
Right.
interviewing her, and she's actually the one that sent my name to Les Brown, whom I
Wow.
totally admire, and I'm just ecstatic that I will get that opportunity to interview him.
Wow. I love that. I love that, man. So you mentioned so we talked, I know you talked a little bit about, the actual purpose of the book and the what question that I want to ask you, and this is something I think some a lot of people would ask if they're if for this. What are we look what type of information or what type of impact are you looking for
Mhm.
once this book is published, and once parents read these stories with these tips and these inspirations and things, what type of impact are you looking at? Or are you looking for?
I'm looking for a shift in the world. I'm going large. I'm looking for parents to start teaching their children again the principles and the doctrines. Um, I am looking for the children to be receptive to the teachings. I'm looking for young parents to read this book so they will do the world justice by releasing the children into the world. I'm looking for the authors to take this book by storm and put it in every city, town, and village. I'm going big. I'm looking for the stars. I want this book in every library. I want it in every coffee shop. I want it to be the talk of the town. I want it to be on the tip of everybody's tongue. Yeah, I want this book to make a lasting imprint on not only our future parents, but our parents today. So Lyrical was in this on this Zoom that I met you on. And
Right.
although she's not a parent, she dropped some nuggets and she said, my parents honed in on my talents and they supported me. And now I am who I am because my parents saw the qualities from a young age and they worked my qualities. And now I'm all over the
Wow.
world speaking and living my passion. She didn't take the credit for it. She said, my parents downloaded in me the necessary tools, right? And her parents should
Right.
be ecstatic because they get credit for that. Um, so when people read this book and they read what she sent me her piece, and it is totally amazing, by the way. When you read the author's heart, when you read their passion, I'm going to read a few tips. I have already written 25 tips, which will be on the first page before you get to the story. But Coleman sent me hers, and she has, if I could find it, yeah, right here. She sent me her tips, all right? And she just sent it to me today. So I just want to give you a glimpse of what you can expect, all right? For her 7 tips, she said, listen to your children. They just might have something to tell you. How important is that for a parent to know that off the bat? Because I know myself, I was naive when it came to parenting. I was married for 4 months, ended up pregnant, right? And wanted to be pregnant. Believe it or not, we went and got pregnancy tests. We went to the store and purchased so many pregnancy tests because I'm like, what in the world's going on? I'm not pregnant yet. All right. So that's just a little nugget. All right. So we need to know that it's all right, parents, to listen to your children because they just might have something to tell us. Watch your children's mannerisms around others. These are poignant tips. Wouldn't you agree? Everyone does not like you, and children need to know this. Everyone does not like you, so they do not like your children. And so would you put your children in somebody's space and you know they don't like you? What would happen, or what could happen to your child if you leave them in the presence of someone that don't even like their parents? Parents have to be wise. So this is for parents. This is for children. I'll say another one. Tell them that you love them often. Parents need to know that because we're working so hard. We're trying to make ends meet. We're trying to make everybody happy. We're trying to cook dinner. We wear a lot of hats, right? But make sure you take time to tell your children that you love them. Support them in their activities, wins or losses. Do you hear that? That's a good one, right? Do not let other people talk negative about your children. Some parents may not need to hear that, but other parents, they'll be like, thank you. I'm going to make sure I instill that tool when my children are a certain age. I'm going to make sure I protect them. So this is what this book is about. And then I'll read this one. Look, she says, do not let other people talk about negativity about your children. She said, their little darlings may not be perfect either. Even though they're not perfect, you still don't let anybody talk about your babies. So I'm not going to read all of this. I'm gonna appease you, and so you can purchase this book when it come out. But what I tell you is going to be fire on top of fire on top of fire. This is not out here. It's not out there, and so it's raw and it's right and it's good. And we're going to write until you chew on it, every bit of it. We want you to chew. We want you to digest. We want you to think. We want you to plan. We want you to have strategies at your fingertips, because I didn't have that when I was a new parent. I had my mom, which was hundreds of miles away. I called my mom, my sisters, but in the middle of the night when you can't reach anybody, you will have this book with you, and you can flip the pages and read the stories of what personality was this child. Like, I have 9 children. I'm the mother of 9 children. I know I don't look like it, but I am. And so look, I had high maintenance children, I had low maintenance children, and I had medium maintenance children, right? So those are different personalities. And one wise statement my mom told me, she said, every child has a different personality. Make sure you groom that. We can't treat a low personality person as if they're high maintenance. And sometimes It's a cookie cutter mentality out here. And we
Right.
have raised all of the children in the same house under the same mold. But I learned, and when you do better, when you learn better, you do better. So with
Right.
my first generation of children, I call them, I did it that way. But when I heard the voice of God and I just started thinking and meditating on this thing called parenthood, and I'm like, I have likes and don't likes, right? Dislikes.
Right.
I have
Right.
things that I like and I have things that I don't like, but it doesn't match my siblings. You see what I'm saying? I
Right.
love gymnastics. I would flip and turn and do cartwheels and somersaults all day long. That wasn't my siblings. Give me a jump, give me give me a trampoline. I would be flipping and flopping all day long. Let me see a
There you go.
hallway with enough room and space. I would be doing a cartwheel. All right. That was me. But I was raised with 14 other siblings. So if my
Right.
parents, which they did and they're guilty, but they did the best they could, they raised us with the same rules, the same punishments, the same everything. They didn't take the time out to say, she's low maintenance. But I told my parents from an early age, I said, Mama, I said, you don't have to spank me. You don't have to yell at me. Just tell me what you want and I will do it. But what about those children that's too shy and bashful to speak up for themselves? We're putting
Yeah.
an awesome, this is a book I'm going to interview, but we're going to have a book where you can go through and flip the pages and find some answers to your questions that you have never received answers to. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh man. Yes, ma'am. And I I actually finished writing my part
Really?
this afternoon. So I'm actually gonna send that to you guys here shortly when this is over with. Um,
Yes.
this is gonna I think that this is gonna be something that's gonna be so impactful. Um,
Oh,
I know that there I know that there are gonna be some look. I would say, and I don't think you could agree with this.
uh-huh.
When we had our children, they didn't come with an instruction booklet taped on them or strapped to them or anything of that nature.
Nope. Trial and
We
error, trial and
exactly.
error. We made many mistakes as parents, but what we need our children to know is that we did the best we could do with what we
Yes.
had to work with. And that's what we're going to paint that picture in this book as well, because there are no perfect parents, just like there are no perfect children. How about
Nope.
that?
That's it. That's it.
Uh, we were learning as we went. We made mistakes. We own our mistakes, and this is where a parent goes wrong when they take that stance that I did everything right. Not me. I tell my children I did everything that I thought was in your best interest. I made mistakes. Please forgive me. When I learned better, I did better.
Man. And this is one that Julie put, you know, I need to stop thinking I won't be good enough. Stop. You are good enough. You're good enough. You're good enough to the point that God thought enough about you to bless you with such a beautiful gift as a child. And if you're doing the best that you can, and you're doing everything to the best of your ability, then that is good enough. I think some parents, myself included,
Mhm.
we focus on the material things, the material things that we can give our kids, and we forget about the emotional and the mental and the spiritual
Come
things that
on,
we can
come on.
impart to them,
Yeah.
and those have more, those have way more value than a pair of Jordans or a PS5 or anything that I can give them financial that I can give that you can give a child financially.
Mhm.
Is what you impart into their mental, is what you impart to them in their spiritual, is what you is the things that you speak into them, and also the things that you impart into them that give them that make them who they are, and that makes you a good enough parent. So don't never think that you're not good enough because it doesn't manifest in how your kid acts, or it doesn't manifest in how your kid portrays himself or hit herself. No, you done you as long as you're speaking to their heart, to their soul, to their spirit, to their mind. I think those are the battles I think we as parents lose because we feel that our children aren't we can't reach our kids in that manner, or that we can't touch our kids in that way, and that we appease them by buying them things,
Yeah.
or
Mistake.
and you can't appease you can do that, but what are you imparting spiritually? What are you imparting mentally? What are you imparting psychologically? What are you what tools are you giving them so that they can succeed in this world? Because this world is gonna chew them up and spit them out if they're not prepared for it.
That's right.
And as parents, we have to give them those tools and those protections so that this world we know the world's harsh because we grew up in it. But they don't know that because we protected them. We put them they're in a bubble,
Right.
our bubble.
Right.
And when we take them, when we release them from that bubble, if they're not prepared, this world will chew them up, grind them down, spit them out, and they will be damaged well beyond repair. So why not just put all those things into your kids at right then and there while they're young, while they're impressionable, while they're able to listen and be able to take in that knowledge and learn all those things. And I'll say that I'll say this with all transparency. You know, I never got the opportunity to impart all the things that my father taught me to my old children.
Mm-hmm.
That's the perspective that I'm writing from.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also writing from the perspective of being a step parent.
Mm-hmm.
So I never got the chance to impart those things that I learned from my father, from my grandfather, from my uncles, into my own kids. And that's the one thing that claws away and eats at me. But at the same time, you know, at the end of the day, I know that my kids, are prepared because they were able to be influenced by the right people at the right times.
Mm-hmm.
You know, unfortunately, one of my kids is not here to see his daughter. But and I speak a little bit about that, but not a lot,
Mm-hmm.
because that's still a soft spot for me.
Yes.
But the best way to do that, speak to their heart, speak to their minds. And, what it doesn't hurt to sit down and talk to your child. Um, or it doesn't hurt to speak to your child and to have an open and honest conversation.
I'll say this, Mr. Beatty, you have to pick the right time,
Yeah,
depending on the personality of the child. You said it doesn't hurt, sometimes it does. So I'm just gonna put that out there. Sometimes children are on a vendetta for their parents.
yeah, that's true.
Sometimes children want to squeeze. They don't want to give the parent a break. They don't want to understand. Sometimes children can be very, I said, just like children can be very mean, you know. Um, but what we as parents have to do, we have to be stronger than that. We have to be stronger than that. Because in a family unit, if love is first, everything else comes second. All right. So if we put love first, I loved my children, all 9 of them. I didn't do the same for each child because each child had a different personality.
Right.
Uh, we have regrets. We do all of that. All we can do is become better each day.
That's it.
And so when a lot of pressure is placed upon a parent and a lot of blame is placed upon a parent, then you get the result of that. I don't think mine is going to be good enough.
Yeah.
God never made a mistake. He didn't give us the wrong children. You
That's
know,
it.
I often say I only wanted one or two children. Um, he gave me 9. Like,
That's it.
what in the world was your plan, God? But somebody said, because he knew you could handle it. And
That's
so
it.
that's what I'm saying to the audience. You have the number of children you have because God trusted you and he knew you can handle it.
That's
And
it.
so we're gonna make bestseller. We're gonna we're gonna change chapters. We're gonna shift people's lives. We're gonna do some remarkable things just by writing in a book. And I'm just elated that people trust me. Right? I'm
That's it.
elated that you came aboard and that you said I'm willing to do this. I'm willing to go to the difficult places. I'm willing to share my story with the world because your situation, believe it or not, Mr. Beatty, is not different from others. There's a whole sect of people that didn't raise their children, but then
That's
they
it.
had another family and they raised those children. So you will be speaking to them. You see what I'm saying? I need a voice for each category of a family unit. That's what I'm looking for. I want a category. I want an Italian in this book. If you hear me by the sound of my voice, I want a Puerto Rican in this book. I want each nationality so we can read this book and find out what parenthood is really like and how to instill the right things into our children. What plan did you have for them to go to college? Or did
Exactly.
you even have a plan? And so they would need to know that I didn't have a plan for my children to go to college. If somebody read that, they're going to say, wow, I'm going to come up with a plan for my children. You see what I'm saying?
That's
We're
it.
going to tweak. We're going to tweak the thought, the intellect of men and women around the globe so they can come up with the right things that will fit their family.
That's it.
Ah, I'm excited.
And like I said, thi- I say this honest to be honest with you, Miss Sandra, writing that
It
that
was hard.
that pulled from some places that I did not want to pull from, and it was quite it was a painful experience, but I, I won't even say I think I know I was the better for it.
That's right. I was going to tell you when your writing is hard and challenging and difficult, that's when you know it's good. When you had
And
to
I,
go there, when you had to go to places that you had closed and sealed and put the close that coffin on, that's when you know that that piece is going to be an awesome piece.
and see, and just to for me to just to pull the nails out of that. Do I
Mhm,
really want to just go? Do I really want to dive in this ocean right now? Do I
mhm,
really want to do that?
mhm.
And that it was a challenge. So, but I did it, and and I was able to get to the bottom and then come back up to the surface. A lot wiser for it, but a little more worn down emotionally from it, but much wiser for it and a lot happier for it.
Mhm, mhm. When you've done your assignment, the rewards that you will receive for your obedience will be priceless. Not everybody can obey. Not everybody can go there. Not everybody's
Yeah.
willing. I spoke to a
Not no price
person.
tag.
I didn't hear you.
You can never put a price
You're breaking up.
tag on knowledge ever.
Oh wow, the most beautiful things can be born in the most ugly places. That's my daughter. She's 21 years old. She's a brain. Um, I thank God for her. That's true. Broken pieces. When you deal with those pieces, you end up. It's cathartic, and you're putting them back together again. I wrote a book with Martha Du Bois, and the title is Hidden Strength, My Hidden Strength. Our strength is hidden down in the inside of us. We have untapped strength in this inside of us, and we don't know about it because most people are afraid to go there. I spoke to a gentleman the other week, and he said, Miss Jackson, your website, he was telling me about my website, and he said, don't nobody want to deal with their the skeletons in their closet, when they go out into public. We want to keep it in the house. And I said, I beg to differ. I beg to differ, because if you deal with your baggage when you go out into public, you will be your best self. But if all of us are walking around in the world afraid to deal with our stuff, do you know what we're doing to society and to the people that we are meeting on a daily basis? We're doing them harm, not good.
Right.
So yeah, please purchase this book. You can get it on Amazon or on my website, sandrarumph.com. This is another book. It is entitled Life After ... If you can see that, you'll see all of the things we go through in life. You see that, Beatty?
Yep, I do.
You
Wow, I
see
like
it?
that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm the visionary of this book as well. And Life After ... What is your dot? So some of the dots were unforgiveness. There's one man that wrote in here. His name is Mr. Ridgway, and he talked about not being able to forgive, but it's important to learn the techniques of forgiving. There
Wow.
is divorce, autism, grief, depression, rejection, bondage, healing, loss, retirement, wholeness, trauma, salvation. You're going to find it all in this book. So 20 amazing, bodacious women and men wrote their passions in this book for the world, and it is all the rave.
Wow. Wow. Man, I am. You know what? I love this. I love this. I've been enjoying myself talking with you, Miss Sandra. This has been so. So first of all, it's been. I've enjoyed every moment. This has been so enlightening. So I've most definitely enjoyed this. Um, the one question that I always ask anybody who comes on to this platform, especially authors and independent musicians, um, two questions I actually ask. The first question is, what does what does legacy mean to you, and what do you and what type of legacy do you want to leave,
Oh,
not only
that's
for yourself but for your children and their children?
I am trying to leave a legacy for my children in a way that you wouldn't believe. That's why you see me everywhere. People, they like, every time I look, you're there. I'm not doing that for me. I am actually doing it for my family. So when I'm no longer here, they will be able to tap into the jewels and the tidbits of wisdom that I dropped and sprinkled all across the globe. Try to catch me. Try to catch me. I I write, I do multiple things. This workbook right here, Shift and Thrive, is a workbook that's the best in the nation. All right. So when I do something, I try to use excellence, and that's the legacy I'm trying to leave. My legacy is not only for my children, but it is also for the world to know that there was a trailblazer that was born March 25th, 1965. And she
Ooh-wee.
left no stone unturned. She suffered, she went through, she made it. She made it happen every morning. I went through cancer. That was devastating because I had long, beautiful hair. All right. I loved my hair, but It taught me so many lessons that you're still the same person, even though you don't have hair, right? Because you don't have it. So it doesn't change you
Nope.
because you go through life. All right. So you have to have confidence in yourself to know that you're going to make it. And that's what I do every day. I'm leaving a legacy of coaching. I will be starting my coaching session on the 24th of this month. And I am so ecstatic about that because I'm going to be able to help more people. Oh, yeah, they see me because I work around the clock nonstop. And when I lay my head on my pillow, it is well earned and deserved. And I go to sleep just like that. And I wake up refreshed in the morning so I can start again because I have to be that bright light shining in a very dark world. Legacy. Legacy is huge for me. And so hopefully and prayerfully you will I will touch you in a way that you will no longer be the same. And that's my legacy. That I came into a room and when I left out of that room, the people that were there are better than they were when I first came in.
That's it. I love that. I love that. I think it's important for us when we talk about legacy and things of that nature. I think it's more than just, to me, I think it's more than just leaving things behind.
Yeah.
Um, Something that former Baltimore Ravens wide receiver Steve Smith said that touched me was like it's more than just what people. It's more than just what you leave behind. It's also about what people impart into you.
Yes. And you know what? With that being said, I'm not who I am on my own volition. All right. I am who I am because my parents downloaded, my teachers downloaded, my peers downloaded, my leaders downloaded gems and tools and wisdoms inside of me. And I'm just implementing I'm modeling what I learned. All right. So
That's
I
it.
am somebody's legacy. I'm my parents' legacy. And they took their time and they downloaded in me. So I can sprinkle a little of Sandra. But while I'm sprinkling a little Sandra, that's a little of everybody.
Yep, that's it. And I like that because I mean, like I said, you're you're your parents' legacy. You're the product of their love and affection for each other, but also their love and affection for you. You're their legacy. But now also your children are your legacy because they're the product of you.
Yes.
Yeah,
I wake up every morning seeing what I can do to better my family.
that's it.
What can I do to put a smile on their face? And not only do I put a smile on their faces, they return the favor and they put a smile on my face. And I know you can see it in the comment section.
Oh
I
man,
love hard and they love hard. I love them hard and they love me back hard.
man,
That's what it's all about.
man, these comments, boys, so much love and so much affection, right? I love it. I love it. I so love it. So the second question I always ask people that come onto this platform is we are a lot of us look at things. I look at life as a marathon.
Mm,
A marathon for everybody. For those who don't know what a marathon is, it is a it is a long distance race, and it's very grueling. It's very hard, and it requires a lot of endurance. I look at life in three stages. One is the beginning stage where we're out the gate and we're just starting and we're out the gate. The second stage of that marathon is the middle stage to where we're at our pace,
mm,
the pace that we want to get to, and we're just moving consistently at that pace. And then I look at the last part of that marathon, which is the latter stage of our lives. We're still going at the same pace we've been going, but we know the finish line is close, and we want to finish strong. When you think about your life, the life of your kids, the life of your parents, your life, what your parents and what they downloaded into you, and what you have downloaded into your children, as well as the things that you've been doing, that experienced and endured in your lifetime, what stage of this marathon are you in? Are you at the beginning stage, the middle part, or are you pushing strong toward the finish?
That's a good question. And I don't think I know how to answer that. But what I will say is the middle stage is the most difficult stage in life.
Yes.
So the beginning stage of life, kind of you're in the beginning, so you give yourself a break.
Right.
When you go into the middle stage, it's a make or break. You don't know if you're coming out or going through.
Right.
But when you're at the end, you know either you're going to win or lose.
Exactly.
I tend to believe that I'm pushing hard for the finish line. When you go through a sickness such as cancer, it causes you to delve into the reservoir of your mind in a more uh, conscious way.
Ah, I see.
Uh, you begin to think and to ponder. You begin to align things. You choose your battles. You don't pick every one. And so, uh, right now, I'm running hard. I'm running hard um, because I know the Bible says, work while it's day because night is coming and no man can work.
Right.
So my first lady, she said, "Girl, everywhere I turn, you're there." She said, "You're doing well." I said, "I'm just doing my day."
That's it.
And if everybody would do their day, this world would be a great place to live in. If my day looks like my day, which I need 5 people to run my day, but I do all of it by myself, kind of deal. If I had 5 people on my team working with me, this world would be a better place for sure. But
Exactly.
I'm just doing my day, and that's all God requires us to do. And within my day, it entails a whole lot of moving parts, a whole lot of pieces, because not only am I looking out for my children, God sent me destiny helpers.
Right.
Julie is one of my destiny helpers that God sent me. All right. I have destiny helpers. My sister Priscilla has been a destiny helper for me. Sister Ryan in Illinois has been a destiny helper. And people like me, single parents, we need destiny helpers. Somebody that's not in it for themselves, that sees something that needs to get done and just do it. Do it without any strings attached. Do it because it's the right thing to do. Do it without expecting anything in return. I want somebody in the audience to say, God, send me a destiny helper. Tudor Bismarck, which is a renowned preacher and evangelist in Africa, I believe he's hosted in Africa. He did a 21-day fast. And on the last day, that's what he said. He said, Lord, send me destiny helpers. And if we would all connect with the people and the team and the tribe that we're supposed to be connected with, oh my gosh, our load would be less difficult and the world would move in a swifter pace.
That's it. Oh man, that's it. And I love
You
the
need
way.
destiny helpers too.
Yeah. I
You know,
I love how you put that. How you put that brought that home. That that you're running hard. That's something I most definitely resonate with. As I think as I because someone asked me that question before and it kind of baffled me and I really couldn't give an answer to that because I didn't know.
mm-hmm,
And I was like, well, I can't tell you because I don't know.
mm-hmm.
So, you know, but I most definitely resonate with that analogy that you did because I actually see myself doing the same thing. I'm running hard
Running hard,
to
man.
get to get to the finish line, but I know
Just,
that finish line isn't it's still a ways away.
Uh-huh. Prayerfully. We never
Yeah,
know. We
exactly,
never
exactly,
know, you know.
exactly. So but God willing, that God willing, that finish line's a ways away.
Exactly.
But even if my finish line was tonight or tomorrow, it's I'm at the end of I'm okay with that.
Uh-huh. I am as well. But I haven't always been all right with that. All right.
Exactly.
There was a time I was afraid of death. How many in the audience have been afraid of death? Um, let's see. Put a one in the comment section if you've been afraid of death. I know growing up, I was afraid of death. I lost my brother when I was in high school. We had a swimming pool in our backyard, in ground swimming pool, and we lived in an enormous home. And my parents were out of town, and my brother drowned in our pool. To go to that funeral and to look at my brother in the casket was not what I was prepared for at the age of 18. Just put it that way. I didn't want to touch him. I recall somebody saying, touch him, this will be the last time. What in the world? I didn't want to touch a dead body. I was afraid. I didn't have the answers. I didn't know what death was all about. It was spooky and scary for me, right? But now
Right.
I was able to see my dad. My dad was a champion. He was 86 years old. He went through life preparing and making life happen for us where we didn't have to worry about a thing. I give him his props. He did what a real man was supposed to do. 15 children,
That's it.
you would never believe. I didn't suffer. I know my older generation of siblings, they suffered tremendously, but I didn't suffer, which means he learned, right? And he worked hard to change the trajectory of our life. And when he left the earth, there was a legacy that he left for his children that I can walk into a room now and I'm recognized by Rump's child. All right. That's Bishop Rump's daughter. All right. I don't know the people. All right. But I treat it as if I know them and they know me. Why? Because my dad paved the way for us to walk in his shoes. And my goal is not to make my dad ashamed while he's in his grave. All right. And so um, we are who we are. Oh my gosh. That's my son he's in Mexico. Oh no, that's my son, and he's in Mexico. I don't know. Um, wow, I'm so sorry. He just arrived in Mexico yesterday, so he's calling me, and I do apologize. Can you see me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, all right, because truth be told, I can't see. All right, here we go. I apologize.
No,
But
no,
yeah, God
you're
blessed
fine.
him. That's my baby son, and he's in Monterrey, Mexico, playing football. So pray for him.
Man, most definitely, man. That is, what the funny and the thing of it is just, and I thought about this earlier today. Um, when I think about a lot of these younger guys that's playing the game, your son included. Um, I think about them. I think about Damar Hamlin
Yes,
and the simple fact that that one instance could have been tragic, but it wasn't.
prayers, man. The prayers of the righteous availeth much. And when I say people start praying for Damar all over the globe, all over internationally. You see newscasters praying on national TV. You
Yes.
see, I mean, when I tell you that should teach us a lesson. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and forgive their sins and heal their land. In a
That's it.
nutshell, if we collectively joined hands and joined forces together and prayed for one another, we will be a force to reckon with because heaven will have to recognize and how I can't stand to hear my children cry. All right. So I know God can't stand to hear us cry. And if we
Exactly.
would just, my God, if we would just tune in and cry out to God and tell him about the situations that we're in, he's going to do something about it.
That's it. The thing of it is that, and when I thought about that, I'm thinking like, I put myself in a situation like, well, that could have been any of my kids. That could have been
Yes.
any of my sons. You know, that could have been my daughter because at the time she was active in sports. When she was younger. So and I think it's just like you said, the prayers of a righteous avail much because yeah, and the thing I'm so glad that he was able to recover,
Oh,
to
man.
breathe and talk on his own, and that he can now move forward with his life, you know, to at least to have a life, without the possibility of football being in it, but just to live, just to be able to wake up and say I'm alive,
Come on. Yes.
and to
He will
say,
be, I think he will appreciate life better now. All
of
right.
course,
And then another thing we need to do is pray that the heart condition that he suffered is whole and complete.
that's it.
So we need a miracle. All right. I have a couple friends that this happened to their children and they didn't make it. And so why do some children make it and others don't? Why do some people live and others pass away? We don't know because we're not the higher power, right? We're not
That's it.
God. We don't make the decisions. But what we can do is we can pray for those that have lost their loved ones, and that's what I'm doing today. I'm
That's
praying
it.
for those that are less fortunate than I am.
That's it. And we have to keep those people, the ones who are still the ones who live even after our loved ones pass, in our prayers, because you just don't know what they are enduring right now.
Mhm.
You just don't know. They could be going through depression. They could be going through uh, a lot of crazy thoughts. That could end up to them being hurting themselves. And we have to keep those people in our prayers. And I think it's also important that we check in on those people if they're close by, if they're a
Exactly.
phone call away, if they're maybe a couple of miles from where you live. It's important that we do that. That was one of the things that I wrote in my part too, is when it came to with kids, when it comes to our children. This part of it, the mental health aspect of it, is real.
Mm,
And I think as parents we discount that part of it
yeah.
because, oh no, they're kids, they're resilient, they'll bounce back, they'll get over it.
But do we know what to do? That's the thing. I think parents don't
That
have all the answers. And I think it's all right for parents to say, I don't have all the answers. You know, we tend to act as if we're perfect. And when you set that ideal up that you're perfect, there's no room for improvement, number one. But then the children that are suffering, you know, they expect the parents to have all of the answers. Man, we're human beings too, and we don't have all the answers, but we can try to get the answers,
that's it.
so
That's it. We have, I didn't have all the answers when it come to stuff like that. If one of my kids over there with my stepson and my stepdaughter, they're feeling bad. I mean, I would try my best to try to listen to them and talk to them about it, and try to and understand their point of view, but also try to give them
you're breaking up.
pointers of how to space or weird or weird space. I don't know. You know, like I said, I didn't have the answers to it. I didn't have the answers to certain things when it came to that. All I knew is this. I made experience from that to them so that way they'd understand, like, hey, this it's okay to feel this way, and that as your parent, I'm not going to criticize you, or I'm not going to ostracize you for feeling that way, but I'm going to help you navigate that, so that way when you do feel that way again, you can probably navigate that ocean.
Yes, totally.
So I'm there. Like you mentioned, we as parents, we've never had the answers to any of that.
Not at all. And on this note, we're going to sign off soon.
I didn't.
So,
Hell, I still.
yeah,
So I most definitely enjoyed this conversation with you, Miss Sandra, and I'm going to give you this opportunity right now to give yourself and let everybody know who you are, where they can find you on social media, what you got going on, and about this new anthology. So the floor is yours.
well, thank you so much, Mr. Beatty. I am releasing um, this anthology. We're going to push the date back a little bit to give a little bit more people time to actually join, and to give the writers time to write a thorough piece. If you would like to be in this project that we spoke about tonight, raising children wasn't easy, please reach out to me via email at journeyintopurpose22 at gmail.com. Um, or you can call 317-900-1149. Um, and my website is Sandra Rumph, rumph.com. If you would like to join me at any of the projects that I am doing, I welcome you aboard. Um, I am in Miss Ashley Bradford's anthology, and it's about Chain Breakers, Volume 3. That will release in April. Um, I am in Ivy's book, and then that's an anthology, um, and I think that's releasing in April or June. I'm in a lot of things. Catch me if you want to, but if you can find everything on my website, sandrarumph.com, you will be able to find me, or on Facebook, Sandra Rumph-Jackson, YouTube, all of the places. YouTube, I would like for you all to subscribe to my YouTube channel because I host interviews every Thursday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. My YouTube channel is Sandra's Authors Forum Talk Show. All right. And all of these links should be in the comments section attached to this live. I appreciate all of the people that purchase my books, everyone that writes a review, everyone that attached themselves to me to assist me in any area. I just want to tell you I love you and I thank you so much for everything you do. I could not do anything without you. Thank you so much, Mr. Beatty, for having me. I totally appreciate it, and may God bless you and your show.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm about to start crying over here. But I do want to say this, man. So thank you so very much, Sandra, for coming on. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And I did put all of the links that you threw in the chat, in our chat. They're in the comments. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, introducing to some and reintroducing to others my good friend Miss Sandra Rumph-Jackson, author, podcaster, visionary, and so many other things so many other accolades I could put on top of her. Um, but that'll probably take up the rest of the podcast, and I know there's a time constraint for her. But please check her out on all of the links that I put in the comments at our Instagram page. Subscribe to her YouTube channel. Go check her out on Linktree. Um, and check her out on Facebook, Instagram. Check her out everywhere on social media. And she also left a number for you guys to call. If you guys want to be a part of this anthology, please contact her via social media or via the telephone number that she mentioned earlier. Um, this anthology is going to be impactful and will be powerful. You don't want to not miss not being on this anthology because
Amen. Thank you
it's
so
gonna
much.
it's gonna be with this. Uh, Once again, thank you to Miss Sandra Rumph-Jackson for being on the show tonight. Thank you so very much. You have honored me with your presence and your energy and your enthusiasm. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good night.
And thank you for. We are out of here. Peace. So that is that show right there, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Office Alley. Once again, I am Frederick Beatty. I am your host. Um, thank you. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Follow us on LinkedIn. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, please, and thank you. Um, I want to thank you. Thank Miss Sandra Rumph-Jackson for being on tonight. Um, her anthology will be releasing soon, so make sure you keep your eyes and your ears on the ground for that. And before I end this show, I do want to give a couple of announcements. Yes, announcements. So, ladies and gentlemen, next Friday, the Authors Alley, will be bringing in my brother from another mother, Mr. Taz D. Freak, poet, author. We're gonna be talking about some of his releases. His most recent release, also as well as his other poetry that he has going. There's other books that are currently available. We're gonna talk about his journey. We're gonna talk a little bit about his first couple of books. We're also gonna talk about his most recent release. But before that, this coming Wednesday, I am going to be doing a show called What is the Meaning? Are you living up to the meaning of your name? Um, I got a script. I got a loose script written behind that, and I want to expound more on what I said during the Unapologetically Free conference. For those who missed it, um, the Unapologetically Free conference, I will kind of rewind a little bit so you guys can take a look at it and see that. So this coming Wednesday, that's going to be the show that I'm going to bring to you. Also, February 1st, I am proud. I am going to be introducing a show, and this is going to be part of my check-in series. This is going to be part of my check-in series. So February 1st, which is a Wednesday, which is this coming Wednesday, February 1st, I'm going to have Miss Joy Katanga in the building, and we're going to talk about postpartum depression. So this is part of my check-in series. So we're going to be talking about postpartum depression. We're going to talk about what it is. We're going to talk about how it affects the mother, how it affects the child, how it affects the husband, how it affects everybody, how it affects the family as a whole. So we're gonna be talking about that, and we're gonna do this in parts, y'all. So the first episode is gonna be about what is postpartum depression. Then we're gonna just trickle on down to the effects on each individual, and then also we're gonna end that show. We're gonna end that series on how it affects the family. I'm gonna do more of these check-in shows because I feel it is important that we talk about certain aspects of who we are and what we are. I feel that it's important that these things are talked about, these things are addressed, and I feel a need to talk about it. Because I think if we don't talk about it, it'll never manifest. It'll never manifest. So, with that being said, y'all, I am out of here. You guys be good. You guys be great, and you guys have a wonderful and blessed evening. I'm gonna take you guys out with a take you guys out with my intro song, with a song, with the intro song, with that theme song again, y'all. Produced by my cousin Nubia, man. Go check her out on YouTube. She's a great producer, y'all. Y'all go check her out. So on that note, y'all, I love y'all. I love y'all to life, and there's nothing you can do about it. 3 things I always like to leave when I talk about as I end my podcast, as I end my stream. First of all, be good to each other, love on each other. Last but most definitely not least, it is a very, very harsh world out here, guys. So above everything, please be safe out there, y'all. I love y'all to life. Nothing you can do about that. And on that note, I'll see y'all again.